Hi everyone, Joe here, and welcome back to another video about the Record Pi. My last video, which went live 4 days ago, has really surprised me by being one of the most popular videos ever on this channel. Something like 1,400 views in 4 days, and many new subscribers, and lots of likes. So I'm glad people found it so interesting. And I definitely wanted to give a follow-up here because I told you in the last video that my bag had a stuck zipper. And I was very happy that Mitch from Record Pie reached out to me and sent me out a new replacement bag. So here it is here. And I haven't tested it out yet, but I'm just about to, and I just find it very interesting. Look here how both bags are black and red and gray, but the replacement bag has the majority black and the gray stripe at the bottom, and my old bag is exactly the opposite. So I found it interesting that the bags are completely inverted in terms of the color scheme, but they both look sharp. And I just really thought that was amazing that they would take the time to go ahead and send that out. And I really appreciate that excellent support. If you have not seen the first video, I'll put a link up here somewhere at the top where you can check out the first part of the video. And I did have one major error that I committed in the first video that I want to talk to you about now. So this is the old bag, and I was able to move the zipper. Oh, it's really hard to move. So thankfully, the zipper on the new bag is good. But what I forgot to show you last time, or what I showed you incorrectly, I should say, you just saw me kind of putting this into the bag and zipping it up. Of course, what I'm supposed to be doing is putting it actually under in here. So what I was doing when I was putting this just on top and zipping the bag up, the bag's still getting heat, and we saw that it did actually work on the Hermits album, but it's kind of equivalent of preheating your oven to cook a turkey, and then instead of putting the turkey into the oven, just kind of setting it on top of the oven, and then wondering why it's taking so long to cook, because after all, you feel heat coming through the top of the oven, right? You may still be getting heat at the top, but that's not the way that you're supposed to be using the item. And I actually figured that out myself after I had shot and uploaded the video. And so I had already made plans to do this follow-up video and say, oops, this thing is supposed to go in here and be Velcroed up like that. And then this bag is closed and zipped up. And also, I think some of the time I had the wing nut on the top of the metal, and I think sometimes I had the wing nut on the bottom and the screw on top. And the wing nut should always be on top, I'm told. That way it's like a spindle, and you just put everything on top of it. So again, thanks to Mitch and the Record Pie folks for making me aware of that. I will say it's a credit to the product that it still worked as well as it did and was still so easy to understand. But I told you in the last video I had a few other records I wanted to test out, and now seems as good a time as any to try those. All right, this is the Charlie Christian jazz album that I showed in the previous video. As you can see, it has a sharp warp that almost looks like a crease. It's mostly a flat record except for that crease, but unfortunately, that crease is so sharp that anytime the stylus gets to that part of the record, it flies up into the air and comes down hard a few grooves later. So it skips, and I don't like my stylus to go airborne. That is not something I typically look for uh, in a desirable record. I have gotten another copy of this album that plays fine, so this is really just an exercise to see if we're able to repair it. And now, since I showed it incorrectly in the last video, let's look at the correct process. We start by placing the LP down onto the felt mat. We add the second felt mat. We add the metal plate. Then we add the wing nut to the top, and we tighten, but we do not over-tighten. Then, of course, place the Record Pie into the correct compartment and Velcro the strap. Then we zip up the bag. Now we just let it bake. All right, I have now completed 2 bake cycles for this record. I did not take video after the first one because I forgot, but this is after the second bake cycle. And as you can see here, the stylus will now track. It doesn't skip, but now there is a noise every time we hit that crease. So we've smoothed it out some, but now there's a whoomp whoomp sound underneath the music every time we hit that crease. You can see there is still a warp present, but it is less than it was. And hopefully we can put in some audio here without getting blocked by YouTube. So if you did hear it, you probably heard the whoomp whoomp sound every time the crease got hit. Now, it is definitely an improvement, and what the Record Pi system says their goal is not to make a record perfect, but to make it playable. Is the record now playable? Well, more so than it was, and of course I've only done 2 bake cycles at this point, and the instructions do say that certain problematic records can take up to 5. So I may keep trying with this, but as I say, I have bought another copy of this record, so this is really just an intellectual curiosity to see if we can get this record playing better. So for now, I am going to move on in future videos to some other records, but I am going to keep this one, and as time allows, I will circle back and we'll see if additional bake cycles can flatten that warp out anymore. But we're going to keep trying, and I'm still very satisfied with the purchase, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the Record Pi can do with some other warped records that I have in my collection. As always, thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.